Hello, my beautiful people. Welcome to the Weekly General with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you as always. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. So, if you are already a continued subscriber of mine, thank you so much for all of your support and all of the likes, the comments, everything. It really does mean a lot to me. If you are just passing through or you are a new subscriber, welcome to, and thank you so much for being here. So with that said, if you would like to book a personal tarot reading with me, you can do so on the website address below. If you want to book a personal FLP or PLR, future life progression, past life regression session with me, you can do so in the website, in the web link below. If you would like to become a member of the Reydiant Reality family, you can do so. Hit the join button on the channel. And with that said, Tribal Tuesday is still open, so lots of announcements this week. But with that said, let's go straight into it. I would like to bless all of my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance, and I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. And I should have said us because obviously this is the Weekly General, so this is for all of us, right? This is the overarching energy or theme that is permeating through our life space, right? That's kind of going on the microcosmic world and the macrocosmic world. So this week the Destiny card is the Tower, right? Very, very interesting. What a card to get. So everyone in the astrological community is abuzz because they're like, oh, you know, Jupiter's going direct and we've got a trine between Venus and Jupiter as I speak today. We've got a trine going on between the Sun and Jupiter as well. So lots of harmonious aspects, which is wonderful. And I don't doubt that for a second. However, Uranus is about to go retrograde, right? And although it is a further distance planet from us and takes 7 years to transit through a sign, Uranus tends to be a bit more of an unsteady energy, and it is the energy of rebellion, revelation, surprises, shocks. Sometimes it can be things that are divesting, so something could be leaving your life, but in, you know, stellar fashion, just like Uranus, because you can't really predict it. Something could be coming into your life as well, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be one way. You know, it can be any and always, as it probably will be with Uranus. Now, why am I talking about Uranus? I'm talking about Uranus, even though this card lists it as Mars, which I'm a bit iffy on that association with the tarot, but whatever, you know, I get some of the reasons why, but it doesn't necessarily sit so much with me. Anyway, right, so we've got the Tower card as the Destiny card, right? And that's why I'm talking about Uranus. That's why I was talking about what's going on up there in the heavens. Now, although we've got Mercury emerging from shadow finally this week as well, I do feel that this is going to be kind of that week where we truly are in between, right? This is going to be the week where all of the crap that you've had to deal with since, you know, since the start of July, right through to now, this is where it's going to start to make sense. This is where a lot of us are going to have those flashes of inspiration. A lot of us are going to have those moments of intuition. This will be where things really start to click into place. And I got to be honest with you, the feeling that this Tower card is giving me, there may very well be this week some people that you decide you no longer resonate with. And the reasons could be vast, they could be numerous. And I know a lot of you are probably thinking like, okay, Raf, do you have any good news for us? Well, the good news is with the Tower card, it's revelation, it's rebellion, but it's also revolution, right? It's new things coming into your life. And as a Destiny card, all of us, right? Because this is the Weekly General overview. So on the wider world stage and in our personal lives, be prepared for revelations, for people to share things with you that you didn't expect to hear. Be prepared for certain people to leave your life on, you know, it might seem like a flip of a coin. For others, it could be people entering your life, right? There's going to be some events this week that you can't predict. There are going to be some events that shape up this week that kind of have us like, Oh, okay. And like I said, none of this has to be negative. The thing is, sometimes people are phased out of our lives because we no longer resonate with them. Some people are brought into our lives because our lives need a shaking up. Sometimes we get information. Sometimes it can be something that happened years ago, and then all of a sudden we get a tidbit of information now, like a piece of the jigsaw puzzle that we were missing back then, and all of a sudden the last 3, 4, 5, 6 years of our lives start to make sense. This very much feels like that week for me. It feels like we're having some sort of personal revelation, and it does feel for me like there's going to be a lot of diverging and divesting paths this week. This is going to be a week where we're all kind of saying, right, this is it. This is final decision time. This is where we go from here. This is what we do from now on. This is how we finish out the rest of the year, how we step into 2020, and ultimately how we set the stage for probably the next 7 to 10 years of our lives, right? So, no pressure, guys. I'm sitting here thinking like, oh crap, this is me as well, right? It's not just you guys. I don't just read for you guys. I'm talking about all of us. I believe that on the macrocosmic level, so on the wider world stage, this could be a week where we see some things really start to escalate. This could be where things spill over out of the realm of just talking about it, or contract negotiations and all of that stuff, where we start to see things move into the physical realm. And that could be in many great ways, but it could also be in some quite challenging and possibly, I don't want to fearmonger, and there could be some things that we see on the wider world stage that make us go, whoa, okay, that escalated faster than I expected it to. So just keep that in mind, bear that in mind. The other thing with the Tower card as well is it does represent all forms of different types of technology. So there could be a lot of people coming forward with technological advances this week. You could be hearing about that sort of stuff on the wider world stage. It's definitely possible. Some of it might make people uncomfortable. I know the stem cell research and stuff like that has made some really advanced steps over the last 6 to 8 months, and I think things like that, things that are cutting edge or really advanced technology, things that we kind of maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago would have been science fiction, those sorts of things could start to find their way into the news and become commonplace and practice this week. There's also the feeling that I'm getting from this, there's something going on with the financial system this week, and again, I don't want to fearmonger or anything, but I feel like there might be not the market itself, but something to do with the technology and the market. You could be seeing a few things like that where maybe, a company comes forward and says we've had a breach of data, or something of that nature is definitely possible. So let's have a look at the direction to give it some context. We've got the Devil card, right? So I was just saying financial structures, institutions, all of that sort of stuff. We've got the Devil card as the direction. So this week, on a personal level, on the microcosm, it's going to be important for us to be ready to let go of anything or anyone that is removed from our lives. You've got the Devil card, which represents addiction, holding patterns. It's in another deck. I've actually seen this card called Chains, right? And sometimes the thing with the Devil card is you have the ability to free yourself of this thing. It's just how attached you are to it that really decides whether you will be able to move past this experience and let it go, and ultimately then transcend it, or if it's going to keep you in that pattern. So going back to what I said earlier about this week being very pivotal for the rest of the year, and possibly one that you might remember 7 to 10 years from now as well. It's really important this week that you stay conscious. When I say stay conscious, I mean, obviously with the Devil card present, don't go out and get completely wasted and drunk and max the credit card. All of those things, the sex, drugs, rock and roll, any of those things that have a tendency to become addictive, you probably want to steer clear of this week, right? And like I said, this is a general reading. This is the overview. So this is the energy that's permeating everything for all of us. Now, this doesn't have to be about sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Sometimes it can be about your thought pattern, your thought process. Sometimes it can be about the destructive patterns that you hold within you. So do you have a nature of self-sabotage? Are you doing really well and find yourself having a bit of a wobble at this moment in time? This is the time for you to really remain conscious. It's the time for you to really look at what you're doing, look at your lifescape in general, and ask yourself, what is it that is now trying to leave my life, especially this week? What is it? Who is it that is now coming to an end or coming to a close? And the thing about this is, it might not necessarily be comfortable. However, the Uranus and the Tower very often brings something that has needed to end for a while to a close, that we have refused to allow to die, right? That we have refused to let go of, something that we have refused to something that we kind of, it's like, I'm so attached, I can't let it go. And that's why when the Tower falls, it's painful when that happens, because we refuse to let it go. And then 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks later, when the dust settles, the emotions are not so raw, we look back and say, oh, actually, do you know what? That's freed me up. It's created liberation in my life in this, and this way. Well, the Devil card is a direction, is asking you what needs to be let go of now. What or who is it that really needs to be phased out? With the Tower card as the Destiny card, it's coming. And you can't get past this, you can't go around it, you're going to have to go through it and allow it to take place. The beautiful thing about this is, once you get on the other side of it, you will know that freedom and liberation. Both taglines actually of the Star card, which is really interesting, because what follows the Tower is the Star. Right, so it's just kind of an interesting one. Now, going back to the Devil card represents Capricorn, and it talks very much about financial institutions, money, finances, the structure of things, the way that things are put together. With the Tower card here and the Destiny direction, and the direction card being the Devil, I really feel, especially because I said it before I'd even pulled any other cards, I really feel that this is about there's going to be something that happens in the world around financial institutions this week. And like I said, I don't feel like it's any economies are crashing. I feel like it's something to do with the technology of, so it could be something like a satellite goes a bit wonky or awry, or some numbers don't make it to another PC or whatever. There's something going on there, but it feels like it's to do with the technology more than anything else. So don't panic, don't go and sell the house and, move to a mountain somewhere. That's what I would do, on a normal day, not because of anything like this. But yeah, like I said, I don't feel like it will be anything majorly detrimental, but I do think it's going to make a lot of people think, right, okay, how can I create more safety around my finances? And, on the wider world stage, like I said, I feel like some things are going to move out of the realm of talking about it and into the physical realm. And it's really important that we don't engage that stuff, let them do it, and let the people decide if they want to back whatever those big decisions are that are going to be made. So let's have a look at a peek behind the scenes. What is the insight card this week? What is taking place? We've got the Ace of Pentacles. So, like I said, with Uranus, you can't really predict anything, because you never know what you're going to get. And if you say zig, Uranus says zag. If you say zag, Uranus says zig. It just is that way. It's that kind of energy. So I've put as much of a fine point on it as I can. The insight card with the Ace of Pentacles, the beginning of the next phase of your life is here. And if you are going to allow old thought patterns, old fears, old self-sabotaging habits, natures, destructive patterns to permeate through your life, these are things that you will carry with you throughout the next 7 to 10 years of your life, and certainly throughout the next phase of this year, right? So this is where I say to you, look forward to the new beginning. Even if it's scary to do something different, to put down whatever crutch, because sometimes it can represent a crutch as well. Like, people drink because they have a problem. People you know, avoid things because they have a problem. They, you know, do the self-sabotage thing because they feel like they're not worthy of the success. All of those things, they're all crutches. They're all things that you lean on for one thing or another, but they mask the actual problem or issue that you might be dealing with. So the Ace of Pentacles here as the insight card is basically saying you are on the precipice of something amazing. Your brand new life, all of that cosmic ordering, law of attraction, hard work, manifesting, praying, chanting, fasting, whatever it is that you've been doing it with a specific goal in mind, a new beginning, a fresh start for your life. Well, that fresh start is here, and it starts this week. And it starts with you being able to let something or someone or some experience or even a place go for your highest good. Let me tell you something. I sound like a preacher now. Let me give you an example. If your cup is already full, but you know you need the fresh water, the water in your cup is stagnant. Even if you stir it about, it's still going to be the same. What would you do? Truly, what would you do? And you could see that just up ahead, there is a spring of fresh water, fresh life, fresh everything. Right? This is what you're being asked to let go of. Whatever is stagnant, whatever has held you back, whatever has held you down, this is the moment for you to move past it. This is the moment for you to let it go, to empty your cup. Whether that's this cup, whether it's this cup, whether it's all other cups, whatever aspect of yourself needs to be emptied now, do it, because it's about to be filled with something that could be so much more beautiful than anything you could imagine. Now, as I said, yes, you know, some of this stuff can be quite heavy, but the beauty of this is you've got the Ace of Pentacles, which basically says if you can traverse this stuff and let go of what you need to, the beginning could be so beautiful and the rewards could be all about the tangible. Right? Whether that is weight loss, whether it's more money, whether it's a different job, moving house, you know, finally being able to save, you know, having enough money left over to say, wow, okay, I've met all my financial commitments and demands. Now let me put a piece aside. And for some people, that really does mean a lot. You know, this could be a really beautiful brand new beginning of a week. It's going to rely heavily on you being able to let go of what no longer serves, what is outdated, what is stagnant, and what you have been leaning on for far too long. And the thing about leaning on something, if someone or something comes along and kicks that crutch out from under you, and you can't stand by yourself because you've been leaning on that thing, it kind of takes away your footing. And that means that you are headed for a little bit of a fall. This is the moment for you to let go of those things. Self-limiting beliefs, self-doubt, moments of, and I'm talking about myself here as well, like moments of fear that you're not going to be able to make it work, that you haven't done enough, that you haven't given enough, right? Those things really plague me as well. I do these things every week, and sometimes I think to myself, I'm not sure about that video, Raph. I don't know if it was enough. I don't know if you've given enough. I don't know if it had enough in it in order to truly help people. Sometimes I really go into really deep thought about whether I've given enough or whether I've delivered something that is actually going to be of value to people. And that's something that I intend to start letting go of from here on in. So that's just to give you an example. This isn't about me, it's about we. All right, so I wish you all an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic week. I know it's going to be challenging, right? But it's also going to be brilliant and beautiful. And all it requires you to do is to show up, to open up, empty out the baggage, and just get on with it. All right? Take care, and I'll see you soon.